Welcome back to the Daily Threat, where we break down the most pressing cybersecurity news to keep your business safe. If you own or manage a company, what I'm about to share should have you on high alert. Today's episode features 3 cybersecurity stories that should not only grab your attention, but also make you think deeply about your business's vulnerabilities. Let's jump into the first one. HR professionals are now prime targets for phishing attacks. Hackers are disguising malware in fake job applications, which could easily slip past the busiest HR team. Picture this: you're swamped with resumes, rushing to fill a critical position, and you download a document from what seems to be a perfectly legitimate candidate. Except this time it's not. Embedded in that resume is malware that opens the door to your entire network. Once the attacker is in, they can steal sensitive employee credentials, financial data, and even gain access to client information. Think about how devastating that could be. Have you trained your HR staff to recognize subtle phishing scams? How many times have they opened a suspicious file without thinking twice? This attack takes advantage of the very systems we rely on daily, turning our trust into vulnerability. It's a wake-up call. If your HR department isn't equipped to deal with phishing, it's not just a weak link, it's an open door. You need to make sure your security protocols are airtight, especially when handling sensitive data from outside sources. Next, let's talk about the latest wave of cryptojacking attacks. This time, hackers are exploiting Docker API vulnerabilities to hijack servers and use them for mining cryptocurrency. If you're not familiar, cryptojacking is like having someone steal your electricity to mine digital coins, except in this case, it's your business's computing resources they're draining. You won't even know it's happening until your systems slow down, performance drops, and your operational costs skyrocket. Imagine your IT team frantically trying to figure out why your cloud services are suddenly crawling at a snail's pace, only to discover that hackers have turned your infrastructure into their personal piggy bank. Even scarier? This kind of attack often goes unnoticed for extended periods. Hackers can lurk in your system for months, draining your resources while you foot the bill. If you're using cloud services like Docker, now's the time to ask yourself, are we monitoring for unusual activity? Do we have the right security configurations in place to prevent unauthorized access to our APIs? And then there's ransomware, the most dreaded of all cyber attacks. This time, it's a healthcare nonprofit that oversees 13 facilities, and the impact has been nothing short of catastrophic. Patient care was disrupted, personal health information was exposed, and their entire system was effectively held hostage by cybercriminals demanding a hefty ransom. Think about what that means: vital services delayed, sensitive data sold on the dark web, and a business crippled, all because of one successful attack. Healthcare organizations are prime targets for ransomware because they're often willing to pay quickly to restore critical operations. But the risks aren't just for healthcare providers. Any business holding sensitive client information, financial institutions, legal firms, or even retail businesses is a potential target. Imagine if your business was hit. How would you communicate the breach to your clients? How would you recover critical data? And most importantly, would you pay the ransom, or do you have a plan to restore your systems without giving in to criminals? So, what can you do to protect your business from these growing threats? First, start with awareness. Phishing attacks are preventable, but only if your staff knows what to look for. Implement regular security training to help employees spot red flags in emails, attachments, and even job applications. Next, lock down your APIs and monitor your cloud environments closely. Ensure that you have the right configurations in place and are keeping a watchful eye on unusual activity, especially if you're using platforms like Docker. Finally, take ransomware seriously before it strikes. Back up your data regularly, store those backups offline, and make sure your recovery plan is not just theoretical, but tested and ready to go. These attacks aren't going away. In fact, they're becoming more frequent and more sophisticated. If you're feeling uneasy, that's the right response. Cybersecurity isn't just about preventing inconvenience, it's about protecting the very foundation of your business. The time to act is now.